guys? James Miller Media here, coming at you with the off-season episode of, not off-season, but season summary episode of the Saving Seattle series here on November 1st in 2031. And this was a very disappointing season on many fronts. Number one, our offense regressed heavily. And number two, our pitching wasn't as good as it has been previously. But I think we're about to turn a corner in the pitching, and I think we're going to have some decent prospects coming up for us here in the coming months. So number one, let's talk about Damian DeMauro. He has been our ace. If we look, we're negotiating an extension with him. We're going to offer him a 12-year deal over a 12-year $142 million deal, which will take him well into forever. But his profile is one that will generally do well. Yes, he is fragile. That doesn't really concern me too much. But he is a guy that has just been phenomenal for us this last year. 28 games started, 160 innings basically, 3.9 WAR. And all he does is let the ball get hit on the ground and not hit hard. That's all he does. 133 hits against, a whip of 1.05. That's exactly what you want out of your main starting pitcher. Next guy up, Paul Skeens. Paul Skeens will not be returning back to us. He wants $43 million for the next year. We're not giving it to him. We have already gone in for salary arbitration, and we've clicked submit a qualifying offer. He's just too expensive. 166 innings is great. 2.38 WAR or ERA is great. 3.7 WAR is awesome. But ultimately just is going to be too rich for our blood. We have plenty of guys who are coming up through our system right now who could potentially take his place, Damian DeMauro being one of them. We have 3 in AAA right now who potentially will take his place next season. So I'm not too worried about it. Third up is Nestor Cafe. Again, we signed him to a long-term deal. We have him for $8 million starting in 2035, and $8 million in this game is a steal. 2.6 WAR, 198 ERA plus, 62 FIP minus. Striking out almost a third of all batters that he faces is awesome, and then only walking 25 of them over the entire year is great. 32 saves, 1 meltdown, 1 hold, just did an all right job, limited home runs. Great stuff. Nestor Cafe is going to slot into our closer spot because that's what he's earned. He is our closer. Nick Green. Now, this is going to be an interesting one because Nick Green is going to be a stopper for us next year. We have already offered him a contract extension. He only wanted 7 years of $34.5 million, so it gets $7 million at its most expensive. I think he can either be a starting pitcher or a stopper for us. I think he does make a lot of sense as a stopper. So to have someone get 130 innings a year at a very high rate is going to be awesome. So yeah, let's put him as a stopper. It's not going to be 8th in close game. It's going to be 7th in close game. But Nick Green, 137 innings, ERA plus of 119, mostly as a starter, but also as a reliever. In the playoffs was absolutely electric. He has some of the best stuff that I've seen in this game. 195 strikeouts over 137 innings is ridiculous. That's more than 1 strikeout an inning. Ks per 9 of 12.8, walks per 9 of 4.0. So if we can get that control under control, that's going to be awesome for us. Nick Green and Damian DeMauro are 2 of the guys who will be in our, dev lab. Drew Summers is an interesting one because he is going to be making $3 million-ish. He is a great reliever, does really good against left-handed guys, doesn't do really well against other guys. If we keep Drew Summers, he is going to be a left-handed specialist, but more than likely he is going to be moved on from. Oh, that was Ian Lowry. Excuse me. Where is he? Drew Summers, specialist. The reason that we're going to move on from him is just because he's a little bit expensive. I'd rather spend $3 million elsewhere, but Whenever he played great. Really limited hits against lefties, was phenomenal. 1.8 WAR in 62 innings is insane. The prodigal son, Jesus Luzardo, you will be missed. Look at his pitching stats over the last couple of years. So he came over in 2028 from us and pitched relatively okay. And then in 2029, led the league in ERA over 163 innings. That's phenomenal. Last year, did well with ERA at 115 innings out of the bullpen. Just awesome. And then 2.11 ERA in 48 games. Just absolutely electric stuff. This dude just put the ball on the ground, didn't give up hits, and just 8 innings for us. The problem with him is he realizes, hey, I can do this long term. Boom, done. Not going to give you $14 million as a 34-year-old. So, Jesus Luzardo, we appreciate your service. You've done a phenomenal job, but you will no longer be needed here. Jose Meza is going to be on the shelf again all next year. He looks like he's going to be a great ground ball specialty guy, middle reliever type for us. If you don't recall, where is he? Jose Meza. We made a trade with the Dodgers for him. We traded Agustin Ramirez, who never saw time in the major leagues, so that's a great trade for us. But yeah, Jose Meza is going to be on the injured list, but whenever he comes back, he will be a middle reliever, so we'll go ahead and put him in there. Next guy, Josh Hader. What's to be said about him? He just absolutely electric stuff. Could be a middle reliever, could be a stopper, could be a specialist. Not a stopper, but you know what I mean. He might end up getting that setup role because he has been phenomenal. He might be a 6th inning guy, but just absolutely great ratings. Kills left-handed batters, still effective against righties, and just has proven it year over year over year. We have him on a $1.8 million deal next year, and then he has a vesting option for $1.6 million next year. So we absolutely love it. Spencer Strider is about to come back. He looks absolutely great. Doesn't have the stamina that he once did. I do want to see if we set him to a reliever. He absolutely ticks up. So he may just be a guy who comes in and is not a good starting pitcher, but gets put into the bullpen. Not Spencer Schwellenbach, Spencer Strider. He's looking to be our 5th starter next year. I think he's going to be just fine. If not, he is already on the block. So that's something to note. If we can get some pieces for him, we're going to trade him away. Next up, Ryan Walker, pure rental. He's going to be gone after this year. He was great as a ground baller, came over to us, did even better because we have a great defense behind him. He doesn't want that much over the next 4 years, but the fact is he's 35 years old, about to be 36. I just can't trade Ryan Walker, re-sign Ryan Walker. So actually, I'm going to put these guys under emergency starting pitcher. Jesus Luzardo, emergency starting pitcher. Now, after Ryan Walker is Spencer Schwellenbach. Now, Spencer Schwellenbach is an interesting case. We signed him on a minor league free agent contract at the end of July, and he might as well have been end of season pickup for us because he came in 3.11, 126 ERA plus. Extrapolate that over the entire year, he is a right up here with Nick Green, 2 WAR player. That on the open market is worth $16 million. So whenever he said, hey, I'm only looking for $5.5 million over the next 3 years, all of those being options, I said, I'll send you that. So he is potentially on contract to be our 4th starter. Awesome. Spencer Strider, again, I kind of want to see if I can trade him, but Spencer Schwellenbach is going to be another guy, just a beacon of consistency. He's going to give us 150 innings of sub-4 ERA, and that's all we can ask for. Heck, I would take 150 innings of sub 4.5 ERA. Just eat the innings for us. We'd love you to be a 4.5 starter. And I think because we're keeping Schwellenbach, I'm going to be a little bit more willing to get rid of Spencer Strider for a lesser deal. Next is Jeremiah Estrada. Now, Jeremiah Estrada was going to be a free agent at the end of this year, but we did sign him to a 3-year, $15 million extension, slowly regressing year over year, about $5 million a year. And just with the way that relievers are in this market, getting one like Jeremiah Estrada, who has been a beacon of consistency, great power pitcher, going to strike out a ton of people and not walk a ton of people, you absolutely take that. The problem with him is he has started to give up some home runs. So as long as he keeps the home runs in check, he is going to stay as our main 8th inning specialist. Jeremiah Estrada has earned it. He's been great. 62 innings, just absolutely shoving. Love it. Next guy up is Lance Williams. Now, Lance Williams is starting to get into his contract where it's going to be 1.53579. I'm thinking we're for sure going to keep him here for the next 2 years at 1.5 and $3 million. But at $5 million, if he struggles, we're going to look to turn him around and sell him. So Lance Williams is going to be our number 3 starter-ish. And that for sure confirms Spencer Strider is going to be on the block and is going to be sold, because I think Lance Williams belongs in that 4th starter slot. So Spencer Strider, we're going to throw him in the emergency starting pitcher as a guy we are for sure going to trade. He's not going to be back next year. Next up is Fran O'Shell. Now, this is a guy who I was like, you know what? I don't want to keep him around long term because the control's scary. But what's the harm in keeping him? You know, last year, pitched 55 innings and just shoved. Yes, he's going to walk people. Yes, he's going to struggle at times. But a pitching leverage, if we keep his pitching leverage down, he's going to strike out a quarter of the batters he faces. Sure, he's going to walk a good amount, but oh well. So where is he? Fran O'Shell, he is going to slot into that middle relief role with Jose Meza, and they're going to be great as a duo, right-handed duo there in the bullpen. Now, Yuri Perez is an interesting case because he was a Rule 5 draft pick. He can potentially swing as a starter. I don't see him being a starter because he's only a 2-pitch mix guy. Hasn't been great for us. I think we are going to put him in a quad A position where he's going to just kind of be that swing man coming up and down. He's hurt to start the year. Yuri Perez, excuse me. So yeah, Yuri Perez is hurt to start the year, and he's going to be hurt for a while. So let's just make sure that we get some decent value out of him in the bullpen. Yuri Perez, on the other hand, absolutely shoved when he came up with us. Over 26 innings pitched, just absolutely tore it up. However, he's still going to be on the block because I'm wanting to turn this entire pitching staff over. Okay, now here comes the interesting bits. Ian Lowry. I think he could be a starting pitcher. I'm not going to force him to be a starting pitcher, but I think he could be. He's got a lot of development left. He is not under contract for any discernible amount. If we tried to get him for the next 8 years, which took him to the age of 32, he'd want $11 million. So he already knows he's going to be good, and we may not be able to afford him. But I need him to develop just a little bit more. So Ian Lowry is still going to be a specialist, a left-handed specialist for us. Potentially going to slot in as a setup person, but ultimately still needs to develop. If you look at him, he's got a great sinker, has an okay changeup, needs that slider to come in. But other than that, if we look at his true ratings, he absolutely dominates left-handed batters, struggles versus right-handers, and needs to get a little bit more development. He will be another guy in the development lab. Dax Fulton is a guy who's on the trading block right now. He's going to be making $4 million next year. Didn't pitch a single pitch for us last year, so he's going to be gone. Jack Leiter was terrible for us in his limited time, and he was terrible, so he's just gone. Patrick Forbes has not been good. He's gone. He's arbitration eligible for the first time in his career, and he just has not put it together. Patrick Forbes is going to be on the block, and we're not going to be trading him for anything at this point. We're just trying to get rid of him. And then Devin Williams. So if we look, we got 21 players right now. 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12. Devin Williams is the 12th guy up. Next year, he's under contract for $5 and $4 million with a vesting option. He is on the block, but he is a guy who's going to slot into this middle relief role, and he's going to be great. So this is where we're at. We have 3 lefties in the bullpen. We have a decent group here. If Nick Green develops the way that I think he's going to, which let's just go ahead and go to this development lab real quick. So we just want to talk about these guys. So let's look. We want Damian DeMuro going in. And Damian DeMuro is going to go in and purely go after his control. We want, who's the next guy up? Nick Green to go in. And Nick Green is also not going to worry about his control. He's going to worry about his pitch movement. Because if he can get this movement and the home runs against to be down, I don't care if this control's a 35 or 40. He's going to come in and he's going to shove. He's going to be able to strike out 3 guys in a row, no problem. And the last guy who is going to take over as a pitcher is Ian Lowry. And Ian Lowry is going to come in and he's just going to do secondary pitch, improve pitching. Where is it? Improve secondary pitch improvement. Because I think he already has a profile that can pitch. If that changeup gets up to a 60 or that slider gets up to a 60, he is absolutely going to be electric for us. So that is our 3 pitchers that we are going to go after. So this is a better emphasis of what's going on here. So we have Jesus Luzardo, Paul Skeens, and Ryan Walker, not Paul Walker, all who are going to be free agents. We have Patrick Forbes, Jack Leiter, and Dax Fulton, who all 3 are going to be on the block, as well as Drew Summers. Spencer Strider, Yuri Perez, and Yuri Perez, all also on the block. So all of these guys I want to move on from. And it's because, if we look here, we have Mark Markham and Javier Ruiz, who are ready to come up, as well as Jared Herzog. So we have 3 pitchers who we already know could potentially do a job. Javier Ruiz, last year, 113 ERA plus in AAA. 480 ERA in AAA is insane. He's already going to be able to come up and do a job, and he is going to be another guy in our development lab. Let's go ahead and put him in the dev lab. So he's AAA. Javier Ruiz. And Javier Ruiz is going to come in and he's going to work on his control, because if he gets up to a 50 control, he's going to be great. He's got the great stamina already. Movement is decent enough. Actually, we're going to work on his movement. We're going to increase his pitch movement just so he's a little bit more effective when he does pitch for us. So Javier Ruiz is going to be one of our guys up. Next guy up, Jared Herzog. In AAA, he struggled mightily, but he's just kind of like, you know what? He's going to be... No, not Jared Herzog. Excuse me. Where is he? Mark Markham is actually the next step. So AAA, he did a lot better. He already has a 4-pitch mix, about to have a 5-pitch mix. His control looks great. His movement needs to be increased. So if he can increase that movement, he's going to be good. So Mark Markham, welcome to the squad. Oh, Mark Markham is going to be on the squad. So player development, let's go to the development lab. And Mark Markham, where is he? Mark Markham, movement. Done. So that's all the pitching development that we're going to have. The last 3 guys are all going to be hitters, and we will go and talk about the hitters now. Oh, one more guy that I missed out on is down here. He's the left-handed guy. Where is he? I just saw him. Guanpai Zhao is also a pitcher for us, and he is a guy who we are also putting him on the block because sure, at 1.3 million, he's doing great. In Seattle, the first year, he did awesome. The second year, he regressed heavily. He's 32 years old and just was not good. So we're going to go ahead and try and move on from Zhao as well. So that is out of the 22 guys, I think we're getting rid of 10 or 11 of them. Go look at the lineup because it is going to be a new look lineup all over. So we can kind of see right here, these are the people that we're going to go ahead and keep, but let's just go ahead and look at WAR real quick. So number 1, Julio Rodriguez, he's going to be our cleanup guy. We're going to keep him around. Already picked up his option. He's going to be here for the next 4 years. And if you've noticed, he doesn't have a contract extension. That's usually what it is. I did go into commissioner mode. I changed this from 10 years to 12 years just because this looks a lot cleaner. This is his contract. It just looks better for me. I know I'm going to take up all of these years, so no problem. No harm, no foul. Just looks better, and it lets me negotiate the extension potentially at the end of this year. But in 108 games, 4.2 WAR, I think it would have ended up being a lot more WAR, obviously, but I think it would have been like 6 or 7 WAR. So Julio is still our GOAT. He's still one of our best players of all time. 277, 338, 477, absolutely awesome. ISO of 200 hit, 19 home runs. He is striking out a lot more, so that's something to take note of. But overall, he's still going to be a great player. He's going to be a Gold Glove defender and center, and he may end up moving over to left or right field, but that'll be seen later. Next up is Cole Young. Again, perennial Gold Glover. 2028, 2029, and 2030. Probably getting it in 2031 as well. Almost 4 WAR. This year, he did bat above average. So this is awesome. Now that we're getting into his $16 million years, again, we're hoping to get 2 WAR and more out of him. He finally got the average back up around 250. He ended up being 243, 352, 360. So not a lot of slugging to speak of, but still hit 27 doubles and 12 home runs. Not a lot of grounded into double plays. He scored a lot of runs. Again, he was a table setter, not a knock him in, drag him out kind of guy. And then in basically half a season, we had Kitak Park put up 3 WAR. That's awesome. OPS plus of 127 and 123. Batted 264, 337, 460. Absolutely awesome. 53 runs, 70 RBIs. And the great thing about him is he takes his walks a lot more. So this batting average guy should be really good next year. I'm expecting him to be kind of a perennial all-star going into the next few years. 20 home runs, 27 RBIs. So he's going to be a 30 home run, 30 double type of person. 4 stolen bases. Yeah, he's not going to steal a lot of bases, but whatever. Everyone pour one out for him. Cal Riley. Absolutely atrocious year. Great behind the plate, but not good batting. Batted 194, hit 321 on base percentage, so 75 walks, but 144 strikeouts. He became unplayable. Octavio Rivas has taken over for him as the full-time catcher, and there may be someone else who also takes over as the full-time catcher. Wanting a contract extension, he wants $12.8 million over the next 2 years. Do I think he's going to be that valuable? No. I'm going to let him go to free agency, and then I'm going to see if I can sign him late in free agency as a backup catcher. He just overall, I can't get around the fact that he's just, for batting average, unplayable. For OBP, I need his OBP in the 400s almost. I mean, his OPS is great, but he's got it. Oh no, his OPS is terrible. His OPS is below 700. We need him at least at 750. So sorry, big dumper. Pour one out for you. You're done. Also, another person who's going to be done is Ethan Holiday. So he's great defender. But he is a guy who I think, hey, we showed he has value. In a full season, he's going to put up 2 WAR. But OBP below 300, and he's not slugging too much. So 26 doubles and 15 home runs is just not going to cut it. And I think with the emergence of Zach Neto in 16 games got 1 WAR, just train him up at third base and let this guy who can kill lefties and do all right versus righties just do the darn thing for a year while we let the rest of our team come up. I think that's exactly what we're going to do. But overall, slightly below league average in terms of batting, and we're going to put him on the whatever and try and find a trade partner for him. But Cameron Decker kind of been the heartbeat of our offense over the last couple of years in between him, Kolyanki Tech Park, and Julio Rodriguez. Cameron Decker is just an absolutely awesome big bopper in the middle of the lineup. 33 home runs, 25 doubles. Grounds into some double plays, but ultimately I think we're going to get a lot of value out of him this year. Being a first baseman, we're going to move him over to first base full-time most likely. Depending on who we have coming up. But 2 WAR as pretty much a pure DH is pretty darn good. So hopefully we can continue his form, get that slugging back above 500, get that OPS above 800, and we'll be really happy. Marcelo Meyer, pure defensive guy. In fact, let's look at those fielding stats. Last year, zone rating of -0.2 is not terrible. Range is fine. Like, he just came in and did an all right job. Also lefty bat, so didn't do terrible. So yeah, 1.9 WAR and 2/3 of a season is absolutely awesome. He is wrecked, so that's something that we have to look at. He is going to get more expensive over the next 3 years, and I think he's a guy that we start the year off with, but potentially move on from. Jason Dominguez, he's a guy who we're putting on the trading block because he's been pushed out as the 4th outfielder. He is the 4th outfielder right now. In 150 games, he was league average batting. Overall, okay is the best that I can describe him. Under 250 batting average, OBP of 308, and slugging of 369. If you're going to have an OBP of 300, I need you to be slugging in the 400s. ISO was not there at all. Struck out 138 times, only 131 hits, so he struck out more than he got hits. 15 home runs to 24 doubles. Yeah, no. He is going to be on the block, and he is going to be traded this year because he's been replaced by Elise Cuevas, who in less games had almost as much WAR, had slightly worse average, slightly worse OBP, but better slugging for a better OPS. This is a guy who can play center field, but is going to be absolutely lights out in right field for us next season. Is a true switch hitter, slightly does a little bit better versus lefties, but is a above average right-handed and left-handed hitter, so he's going to be great for us. He is fragile, so that's something that we need to keep in mind, but Gold Glove caliber defense and an average bat is absolutely something we'll take. In his 72 games, he basically scored a run in 2 out of every 3 games and drove in a run in half of the games. So he's very productive as a hitter. 13 home runs, 11 doubles. So extrapolate this over an entire year. You can basically double it to where, yeah, we can double everything. So he's going to have about 50 walks. He's going to strike out about 130 times. He's going to have 140 hits. 25-ish home runs, 20-ish doubles, about 70 RBIs, and score close to 100 runs. Like, this is exactly a type of guy that you need in your offense. He's going to do the dirty work of getting on base, and he's going to help you out by hitting in runs. So that's awesome. Zach Neto came in, only played 1 game for us. Again, we traded for him with J.R. Ritchie, kind of got out of that contract because that contract is going to go upside down here in the next couple of years. That was the big piece that I wanted to get rid of. On top of that, Brandon Nimmo, who was never going to play for us, Javier Tavares, who I believe, no control to speak of. He was down in low A for us. Went up to AAA, did all right, so good on him, I guess. And Marion Boyd, who was never going to play with us. Willie Rodriguez, who wasn't good. Jose Pacheco, who wasn't good. And RJ Cope, who was going to be a free agent at the end of this year. So it's all like, hey, these are all throw-in players for a really good rental who we are renting again this year. We've already extended a contract to him. The offer history is 1 year, $20 million. He wanted 3 years at 19. We gave him $20 million, so $1 million more, but only 1 year. He can see it as a prove-it deal. We're seeing it as a, hey, we got a third baseman coming up right behind you, and we're just biding our time. Andre Lipchis is a guy who we are going to extend one single arbitration offer to, but ultimately we probably are going to move on from. We offered him slightly below arbitration. He got us one more, but that's not something that we're going to be proud of. He really did not do a good job for us. Not much to talk about there. Elan Fernandez is going to be our bench bat, which is another reason why I want to move on from Ethan Holiday, because Ethan Holiday would be relegated to this spot, and I see a lot more upside by Elan Fernandez. First off, he has more options available. Second off, I think he's just a better bat and a better fielder than Ethan Holiday. And I think if we extrapolate his 100 so games, or where is it? His 40 games over an entire season, you can basically quadruple it. And I mean, that's just games that he got into as a defensive replacement. He came in, he hit average, 270 average, 318 OBPs. Sure, the slugging's a little bit low, but the OPS, again, above 700 with a guy who you just want him to get on base, not strike out. He's going to not really walk. He's not going to really hit home runs, but he is going to get on base. He's going to steal the base, and he's going to potentially hit you some doubles. Like, this is a guy who I would rather have in my team than a purely righty masher in Ethan Holiday, who's kind of shoehorned in at third base, not good enough to play shortstop, never going to play second base with Cole Young on the team, and just kind of meh. Too valuable to be a backup, but not good enough to be a starter is where he is. So I think we can extrapolate some value out of a team by throwing him into places. Octavio Rivas is going to be the guy to potentially be our starter next year. Sure, did not have any value with the bat whatsoever, but I think we saw that he could potentially do with the bat a lot of things. He's got great defense, and it looks like to start, Brady Murrieta is going to be the backup catcher just because he brings so much value as a defensive replacement. So we'll see about him. Rich Hernandez is gone after this year. We waived him. He's not going to be around anymore. We're not extending a offer to him. He's going to be off the roster. He's going to be 33 years old next year. Doesn't really do a lot for us. Sure, he has decent peripherals everywhere, but just there's no spot for him. He really isn't that good. Yeah. In his first cup of coffee, he was great. And then just kind of fell off a cliff. Jason Smith is going to be a guy that's kind of taking over for Lipkis as a right-handed bat, kills left-handed bats, has a decent outfield range, so can play in the outfield, can play first base. He's going to be our first bench bat. And overall, just kind of flew up through the minors this year. Started in high A, just absolutely raked in high A. Went up to double A, raked in double A. Went up to triple A, spent half the year in triple A, and did well. And then came up to the major leagues for the month of September, I believe, when Julio went down. And just kind of showed like, hey, I'm not overmatched here. Sure, he's going to strike out a little bit. He's not going to walk as much as he's going to strike out, but he puts the ball in play. The OPS at 779 is great. I think this is the type of batter he's going to be, but extrapolated over a season, it's going to be interesting. So this is kind of who we're going to end up going with. Don't know 100% what we're going to be doing at first base. That could be Lipkis, that could be Decker, that could be Jason Smith. I think Jason Smith is going to be our full-time DH to start the year. And then we'll see about adding ourselves an extra outfielder because I do want to get rid of Jason Dominguez and Ethan Holiday. We're having Cal Riley be gone. He's gone. Rich Hernandez is also gone. So we're at 12 players right now. And if we look at it as well, like Brady Murrieta may also just be a AAA guy. And Ilan Fernandez may also be a AAA guy. So we really only have these starters plus, so these 8 plus Jason Smith. So we really only have 9 guaranteed players next year. And then plus Andre Lipkis, depending. But he is someone who will be put on the block. And before this part of the episode started, I did go ahead and fill out the rest of the player lab. We are starting with Jose Pinto Bean, just because this peripheral looks so good. Ratings wise, he already can come up and hit right-handed players really well. Think he needs a little bit more seasoning down in AAA. He's only 20. Looking at it, he started this year up in high A, just kind of cruised up to high A, cruised through AA. Cup of coffee in AAA, but he's going to be a guy here next year who's going to be up probably halfway through the year as part of a big bop in first baseman. I'd love to get him trained up just a little bit more. If he could get some TCR to get some infield range or some infield arm to potentially slot over at third base, this is a guy who I'm looking at taking over for Zach Neto potentially. Next guy up is Ketak Park. Again, he can be a solid outfielder for us for many years. We're looking at quality of contact for him just because if we can get that BABIP up just a little bit from 55 to 60, or from 45 to 50, that'll be straight contact straight across the board. Looking at his ratings, he's going to kill left-handed guys. He's okay against right-handed, but if we can get that BABIP up just a little bit, I'm going to be a lot more comfortable giving him an everyday role. Pinto Bean's doing a 2-strike approach because that's really the big portion of his game that, yes, he needs to make contact, but he needs to avoid those strikeouts. He's not going to have that power. He is going to have the gap power, and he's going to have the speed to take care of those doubles. In fact, if we look, 13 doubles, 10 home runs, but also 4 triples. Like, this guy is going to hit doubles and triples galore, and I believe in Seattle, that's going to be just as valuable as hitting a home run. Sure, you're going to have another guy hit behind you, but he's going to be fantastic for this. Next guy that we added was Daniel Lomo Rodriguez. Apparently, he is going to be ready in major leagues by next year. OSA says, sure, he's a 15 out of 80, but just imagine his bat comes and does this. He's got high adaptability, high work ethic, potentially maybe a center fielder. I don't know. I'm worried about the batted ball profile, but I think this guy, who already has been up to high A this year, I think we're going to go ahead and start him as an 18-year-old in A-ball, maybe even high A. Let's look at his ratings real quick. I think it's the California League. Probably going to start him in... Might even just start him in high A. I don't know. We'll see. We are scouting all of our prospects right now just to make sure that we have the most in-depth prospect whatever. And this is something that I wanted to show you guys real quick. This is our prospect pipeline. So this is why I'm saying, oh, he's going to be up this year. So ETA 2031, like, this guy could already be playing in the major leagues for us, which I'm going to give him a little bit more time. If you look at him, holy crap, he looks awesome. But if you look at this, he's a lefty hitter. We need to get him trained up on the righty. And oh my God, I need that catcher arm to be just a little bit good, because if this dude could play catcher, oh my God. Like, Antonio, awesome. Daniel Rodriguez, if he turns out to be this, holy crap, this is going to be a perennial all-star forever. Jose Bonilla, great speed, first base, sure. But the thing is, look, 2031, all these guys are in AAA. Robert Caraballo. He's going to get a little bit extra time, just because of certain things, but that's going to be all for me this episode. Next time, we're going to be going over free agency in the off season. I will see you then.